Good evening once again. Thank you all for registering and attending this one-week national level online faculty development program on Indian Knowledge Systems, IKS, organized by the UGC Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center, UGC MMTTC, Gauhati University, and the Internal Quality Assurance Fellow, Gauhati University, Gauhati, Assam, in association with with IPSR Solutions Limited. Today, we would again like to welcome Dr. Suresh Namboothiri, who is the Director of IPSR Solutions Limited and Espoir Technologies Pune. And we would like to welcome all the FDP resource persons, managers, directors, principals, vice principals, representatives from management, HODs, IQAC coordinators, and all faculty members. About this FDP, this is a one-week FDP program with live timings from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is actually our fourth day of the FDP. Now, the fee for LMS access and processing of certificate is ₹500, which you can pay online to the account details that I've already shared in the chat. And you need to also send the transaction details to the WhatsApp number stated there. All the participants who have made the payment will receive LMS access, the video recording for all the days, and the provision to download your FDP completion certificate. The procedure for receiving the certificate will be informed to you at the end of the FDP. If you're unable to attend any of the live sessions, the recording will be available in the LMS. Now, we have shared the LMS access details through email to those who have shared the payment proof through WhatsApp till yesterday. Those who have shared the details today will receive the LMS access details later in the day or by tomorrow. Now, if you have any trouble in attending the WebEx session, you can also join through the YouTube live link that I've put in the chat. I'll just put it again in the chat if you have any issues on WebEx. My name is Sujin Jacob George. I'm working as Global Relations Manager with IPSR Solutions Limited, and I will be the event moderator. Now, before we move on to the session, could you please turn on your videos for a few seconds? We would like to take a few screenshots for our documentation purpose. Please turn on your videos for a few seconds. After that, you can turn it off. All right, thank you. You can turn off your videos. We will move on to the FDP session, the topic for which is going to be Forge Tapas Transformative Formation. Now, this is going to be delivered by Dr. Suresh Namboothiri, who is the Director at IPSR Solutions Limited and Espoir Technologies. Dr. Suresh Namboothiri is a product design specialist with over 30 years of industry experience. He has contributed to automobiles, consumer electronics, home appliances, and telecommunications. Formerly the COO of Tata Motors, he played a key role in developing India's first car, the Indica, and has designed over 200 products, many pioneering in India. As seasoned interviewer for senior engineering and management roles, he has assessed over 12,000 candidates, driving his research into Indian engineering education. Collaborating with global industry experts and Ivy League universities, he led a pan-India ethnographic study to identify systematic challenges and solutions. Currently, as Director at IPSR Solutions Limited and Espoir Technologies Pune, he mentors institutions like IITs and NITs, focusing on employability, outcome-based education, design thinking, and AI in education. A researcher, educator, and corporate consultant, he actively engages in faculty development and industry academic collaborations. He has authored 7 books on OBE quality attainment series on 7 disciplines, which include the concepts of IKS and another 5 books on generative AI. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Sujin, and good evening to all. Today is going to be a very, very important day. And my promise to you is that being a teacher, researcher, or research scholar in any discipline and working in higher and technical education, today through Indian knowledge system, you will find the reason for the troubles we face. And you will leave this 2 hour session with something in your mind. So this is what we are planning with today's session. Now, let us see. So before we start today's session, we will have a recap of what we did yesterday. So before the recap, I need to speak certain things regarding Indian knowledge system, because this is based on the feedback and some of the messages I saw on the chat box. And first point is that many of the faculty members, their question was that how are we going to implement and how this can be integrated to the curriculum. Today's session is the answer for that. There is a solution. Everything can be implemented in the curriculum. Otherwise, there is no meaning of we sitting here. And second thing is our discussion here. This is about Indian knowledge system, and we are not thinking here about the social aspect from who who built the temples or who financed the canals for water irrigation. That is not the thing here. Someone decided to build, but we had the skill to do that. And most of the times, these are all we see that these are all individual and collective efforts, but it was remaining in the system. So that was the important thing. Now let us see what exactly we did yesterday, and with that recap, we are going to start today's session. Today's session is going to be very important, and we will learn a lot from that. Now, let us see this. Yesterday, one by one, we have gone through 12 different disciplines from 12 different areas. And these 12 different areas, we have examined each achievement. For example, we went through mathematics, we went through astronomy, we went through metallurgy, we went through chemistry, we went through medicine, Ayurveda, agriculture, temple architecture, water management, linguistic, yoga and consciousness, ethics and governance, arts, etc., etc. These are 12. I could select another 12, but because of the time limitation, and these 12 are representative enough for us to put forth all the points what we want. So here, this I call wow gallery, because this will make the real wow feeling on any patriotic Indian, or we are all proud of our motherland. So this will make us feel wow. So this is the wow gallery, and each one we went and saw what really made them capable of doing that. For example, at the end in Kerala, there was a Kerala school of mathematics. How this Madhava or Nilakanta Somyaji could make infinite series or calculus or trigonometry with 200 or 300 years before Europeans thought about this. What really made them? We did that investigation. That was our first research requirement of yesterday. So all these 12 places, we found that there is a genuine original innovation, and our countrymen did that with the limited facilities what they had. And what was a real thing? Why we investigated in that way? Because according to government of India, the requirement is not domain locked knowledge transfer. Temple architecture is not to be transferred only to civil engineering or or architecture. We have to really extract the insight from that. This insight we should be able to spread across the spectrum. Interdisciplinary research, it should go everywhere. As I was telling you yesterday, samurai sword making technology, it didn't go to sword making or steel company in Japan. It went to everywhere, including camera maker like Canon, bike maker like Yamaha, and electronics maker like Sony. Similarly, this is to be spread like this. That is the reason we are sitting here. We are all teachers. How to extract that one? Identify exactly what skills are required and then spread here. So we have seen the war gallery yesterday, and I told you that we say what to gallery, but what gallery has got some question. Now the what gallery asks its own question back to us. Gallery is asking us, what does a civilization look like that produced all of this? How that civilization look like? Not one of these, all 12 in one continuous tradition over 2000 years. 2000 years, one system was alive. It was not resources, it was not luck, it was not the exception of individual genius. It was a system. That system remained. A system that consistently produced the cognitive architecture needed to generate original work across every domain. A system that consistently produced the cognitive architecture needed to generate original work across every domain. I am sure that you would have gone to Wikipedia and searched for list of inventors. And out of 1,400, there are only 4 Indians. No Indian after 1947. Why such a system breakdown happened? That is what our question is. It is each one of us. We should be really trying to build it up. So the next 4 days will examine that system one question at a time. This was the promise yesterday. So for next 4 days. So today is the first day of that. Now let us go ahead and see what we are going to do. So today we are coming to the next session. One by one we are going to see, so that today we are coming to our next.
This method preserves the soil's vitality for future yields.
These simulations predict a 20% higher yield for this new variety.
The data is very promising, Professor.
So today is our next session, that is day 2, Sthira Sukham Adhyayanam, applied IKS for the AI era. So as we discussed yesterday, this was planned for 5 days, but we are completing this in 4 days. We are not missing any of the important part. We are going to discuss all the key part here. Day 1 is pratyapijna, that is recognize. Do we know what has always been ours? We have seen 12 war gallery pictures. Everything is ours. Our blood, our flesh, people did that. That belongs to us. Second is day 2. That is forge, tapas. What kind of people made all of that possible, and how were they made? How were they made? What are they? How were those people made? Means we have seen the products yesterday and someone produced it. Today our question is that who produced those producers and how those producers got produced. Today this is going to be very, very important day. I request each one of you to pay your attention, because many of our thinking, all the thinking are going to break down today, because everything is very new. You may think you know, but this is going to be a surprise for you. Now day 3, exceed, that is Vikrama. I told that we means crossing. Krama means step. Someone who crossed the step with whatever constraint we had. Our ancestors crossed that constraint and they did. Day 4 is originate. Pratibha. What is Pratibha? Where did genuinely new ideas come from and what made them possible? In Pratibha, you are going to see entire details of research methodology, interdisciplinary research, how the researches are done according to Indian knowledge system. Day 5 is regenerate, that is Rana. How did this civilization continued for over 5,000 years, sustained itself across millennia, and what does it owe the future? So now let us come straight away to our second day, that is forge. It is tapas. What kind of people made all of that possible, and how were they made? How were those people made? Now welcome back. Yesterday we saw what this civilization produced. Mathematics without a calculator, surgery without anesthesia, grammar that generated all of Sanskrit from 14 phonemes, architecture that placed a 216-ton capstone at 60 meters high. A question was left open. That was, what kind of people made such things possible? We need people, because ultimately it is not the infrastructure. We know the story. We know the story in Kurukshetra war. It is a really eye-opener. This Sri Krishna told, whether Sri Krishna gave the option to Pandavas and Kauravas, means whether you want all my soldiers and all my war equipment. This side, I am one person with a condition that I won't touch any weapon with my hand. These are the two options. Kauravas took the soldiers and war equipment, and Pandavas went for an individual with a condition that he is not going to touch any weapon. Now we know how that war ended. This is what actually from our ancestors, they want to communicate that it is not the infrastructure, it is not the funding, it is the thinking. Now we are going to see that when a big surprise going to be here. Now, what kind of people made such things possible? Today we answer that question, not in abstract terms, but in the specific, variable, neurologically grounded details on how a civilization designed the production of excellent human beings. As I was telling you the Toyota story yesterday, the main thing what we produced in our in ancient India is not astronomy, not mathematics, not metallurgy, not Rasa Shastra. We produced such good individuals. They could produce astronomy, they could produce mathematics, they could produce metallurgy, they could produce astronomy. That was the type of the thing. So now let us go ahead from here. This today is, we have named this session as a tapas. What is this? Tapo Brahma. I am telling once again, this is not about a religion. These are all Sanskrit non-religious scripts. If any place there is Ishwar, it can be, if you believe in God, think as whichever God you believe. Otherwise, this Ishwar. For me, Ishwar can be Prakriti. It is a nature. There is nothing more, nothing less than that. So, Tapo Brahma. What is the exact meaning of that? Disciplined effort is the ultimate reality. Disciplined effort is the ultimate reality. Why this matters today? Not prayer, not birth, not resources. The fire that reshapes the practitioner, that is the Brahman made visible. This is from Taittiriya Upanishad. Upanishads are non-religious. It is only Upanishad. Means a teacher sitting next to you and explaining to you wisdom, that's all. Tapas is not punishing austerity. It is only in story. It is transformative heat, the fire that reshapes the practitioner from the inside. A sword is forged by fire, so is a scholar. A sword is forged by fire, so is a scholar. Therefore, tapas is equal systematic technology of human transformation, for human formation. Today, we are going to speak about formation. So, before entering to this, let me tell you a story. I am basically a mechanical engineer. Few months ago, I went to a relative's place in a village, and their water pump was not working. And that mechanical engineering inside me woke up. I told that I would repair. I went to a nearby shop. I purchased a spanner. It was a village. I purchased a spanner. I came here. I put the spanner. It was looking very good. Branded, drop forged, everything. Name is written. Good finish. And I put that spanner. I turned, but screw didn't turn. The spanner turned by bending. Then what I did, I went to the nearby town. It was about 12 kilometers. I went there. I purchased one branded, one quality spanner called Taparia. I don't know this company, and I am not vouching or anything, but this is what the spanner name, Taparia. I bought it and I opened it. Both the spanners look same. Both measurements are same. Both are exactly same. One worked, one didn't work. What is the difference? The difference is in material. We are going to speak about the material of the people today. It is not credentialing. It is not the coating. It is not the grading. We are going to speak about the material. Material in which a person is made. That is what we are going to speak today. Now, let us go to the next one. Now we are coming to the main key point today. These are the four pillars in which ancient Indian system, it made its supermen and superwomen. How they made, that is what we are going to speak here. There are four pillars on which ancient Indian human capabilities were built. This is going to be the total in this particular session. Till 9 o'clock, we are going to speak about this. This is what the key. Individually, don't judge, don't have any judgment, because inside there are layers and layers. Means there are four pillars on which Indian knowledge system, ancient Indian human capabilities are built. These are four pillars. Pillar number one, the system made human human. I am going to tell the entire story of that. How system made human human. Second pillar is Ashtanga Yoga. Please don't compare with whatever yoga knowledge you have, because the real Ashtanga Yoga is entirely different. And how it is integrating with the rest of the system is marvelous. It is entirely different. I am going to explain that one in detail. Pillar number third is a very, very unknown thing. It is called Adhikara. Adhikara is a point that is totally forgotten, but the ancient Indian system never forgot that. Adhikara is a very, very important part. Pillar number four is Samvedana. And Samvedana is the point number four. When I come back to this, pillar number one is making human human. Pillar number two is Ashtanga Yoga of Rishi Patanjali. And pillar number three is Adhikara. Adhikara. You know, Adhikara, it is not a government job. We are not speaking about power. It is actually about the position earned, readiness to do something. It is something like a disposition. That is what we are speaking about Adhikara. And we are going to see when this is missed, what are all the problems coming. Then with that, you will see individually all the problems we face in Indian educational system and how it is actually affecting the society, affecting the economy, affecting even pride of our country. This is what we are going to speak one by one. Now, let us see like this. This four things are in. First is make human. Second is Ashtanga Yoga. Third is Adhikara. And the fourth is Samvedana, ancient Indian capabilities. And now let us see this one by one. First point we are going to speak is pillar number 1, that is make human human. Make human human. You know, there is a saying, you go and speak everyone. People speak about oral tradition. They think in such a way that oral tradition is people speak and then forget. That is what means. This oral tradition people take in such a loose way that they really forget that that was the spine and the foundation of our entire Indian ancient Indian education ability building. Why? Oral tradition. Once that oral tradition is removed, that is what actually Lord Babington Macaulay did. He removed the oral tradition. And let me tell you what is that oral tradition. Oral tradition is the technology of human becoming. Please understand the wording. Technology of human becoming and its neurological foundation. Ancient India did not use oral tradition because it lacked the writing. It was not that, because Brahmani script was there. Ashoka Empire means there was script. There was a way to write. You know, Nalanda had a library and it got fire. You know that. So it was not that writing was not available, so people went for oral. It was because of one brilliant reason, and with the same stupid reason we didn't bring it back, and we are paying the price for this. You will see, writing was available. They chose orality anyway, because they understood through millennia of pedagogical observation that articulated speaking is not the output of thought. It is the synthesizer and generator of thought. Speaking, articulated extempore speaking is not the output of thought. It is synthesizer and generator of thought. And whatever our people knew for the last 2000 years, you go and see what is the 2001 Nobel Prize for Medicine. This is what mentioned in that 2001 Nobel Prize for Medicine. Now, let us see more detail about this. For making that detail, make human human, there are three. I have to put in totally 4 parts in this, but I call 3 because part 0, what makes humans human, the philosophical foundation. Part 1, the neuroscience, the highway they didn't know they were building. Our ancestors, they didn't know they were building a highway, but they observed the result of that. So they continued to build. For part 2 is Pata system as a progressive neural training protocol. Part 3, the convergence, debates as cognitive zenith. Debate as cognitive zenith. Now, let us see one by one. There is no religion here. There is no glorification here. We are going to do analyze, because that is what the mandate on us. We are going to see that how they build, what we can learn from this, what we can implement this on Monday morning in our classroom. That's what we are going to see. So first, part 0, what makes human human, the philosophical foundation. Now I am coming to 3 questions that no school asked. No buffalo invented a motorcycle. No parrot invented Instagram. No tiger invented a missile. Or why no buffalo invented a motorcycle? Why no parrot invented Instagram? Why no tiger invented a missile? The question is not, are humans smarter than animals? The question is, what kind of difference is it? How Homo sapiens, human beings, like how are we superior? What is making us superior? And why we only did all this work? Our our ancestors knew this. They knew the answer. Let me tell you, a chimpanzee's working memory can match a 5-year-old human. Yet no chimpanzee ever wrote a constitution, composed a symphony, or debated the nature of consciousness. The cognitive distance between them is not explained by more neurons. It is not a neuron. There is a very, very different secret in that. It is explained by two specific capacities that no other species possess. Human beings, we have two special capacities that no other species have with them. That is making all difference for us. Two capacities and only two account for everything civilization has ever produced. Our ancient Indian, our inventors and our pedagogical excellence, our gurus, they knew this. Now let us see what are those two. These are two dimensions of human becoming. Two dimensions of human becoming. Please see this. First, it is there on the image on the right hand side. One, abstract reasoning. Second is articulated speaking. These are the two human capabilities. Now let us see, these are two dimensions that is making human human. Now, dimension one, that is abstract reasoning. What is that exactly? The power to act on synthesized meaning, not immediate sensory reality. Please understand this. This is what making difference. The power to act on synthesized meaning, not immediate sensory reality. To build futures not yet arrived. Mathematics that exist nowhere in future, nowhere in nature. To build futures not yet arrived. Mathematics that exist nowhere in nature. Everything else is existing somewhere. Mathematics never existed. To ask what ought to be rather than only what is right now. Not different in degree from animal cognition, different in kind. This is what the abstract reasoning ability, this really making along with the articulated speaking, that is dimension 2. What is articulated speaking? Especially extempore articulated speaking. It is not mere communication, real-time irreversible exposure of the self. Please understand the wording. It is the irreversible. I cannot take my words back. When I speak extempore, I am speaking without script. I am speaking without script. And it is exposure of myself. I cannot act. It is coming from me spontaneously. It is something like my MRI scan. Means I am exposing myself. I am naked when I am speaking. When I am in extempore speaking, when I am in spontaneous speaking, I am naked. My mind is naked. No one can, because there is no script. So, in spontaneous speech, creation and delivery are simultaneous. Please understand the wording. Creation and delivery are simultaneous. No gap, no mask, no revision. The body, voice, and face betray what the tongue tries to conceal. Please understand this. The body, I may tell a lie, but my facial expression and my body will continue to tell the truth. The body, voice, and face betray what the tongue tries to conceal. The most diagnostically powerful act a human being can perform is articulated speaking. Most diagnostically powerful act a human being can perform is articulated speaking. See, these are all the things. First time I learned from my grandfather, who is the product of a Gurukul, and he was a Rigvedi. And let me tell you that he specifically said, the day we stopped speaking from the education system, we actually cut the future of the country. Because we really cut the thinking. and then we really cut the future. Then there is no meaning of speaking again and again and complaining about victimization. How many years are we going to complain about Makkale? Makkale, you know what? You please read the history. Makkale came to India in 1800, and Makkale was born in 1800. He came to India when he was 34 years old. He was not an educationalist. He was only a government employee. Only 4 years he was in India. He left India in 1838. And we had 80 years to change that, but we didn't change. Now, Indian knowledge system, IQAC, it's a great opportunity to go back and recapture what we already owned. Now, let me tell you how to do that. I am going to tell entire all reasons, complete diagnosis of this. The question this section answers. What we are going to answer here. How did ancient India systematically produce human beings in whom both of these capabilities were fully naturalized, not as academic skills, but as the living mode of their being. They were that living mode of their living. Okay, two things: abstract reasoning and articulated speaking. Next time when you meet a person, you just judge him or her with these two things. What is their ability for abstract reasoning? What is their ability for articulated speaking? Then you will start seeing in a very different things there. Now let us I have more details here, but let me see the time also. Therefore, if anyone has got any clarification, I can say. Now we are going to show the neuroscience of that. Please listen. I am not going to speak anything tough, but I am going to speak what is necessary. Now, just to close your eyes for 5 seconds. Please close your eyes for 5 seconds. I will ask you few questions. Have you ever experienced any of these? When you speak about something with a genuine interest, new ideas arrive in the act of speaking that were not there before you opened your mouth. In a simple sentence, when you speak something passionately, you get new ideas, yes or no. Can you please put that on the chat box? When you speak something with great passion and interest, will you get new ideas new ideas while speaking that? Yes. Everyone is getting yes. Now, let me ask you another question. When you teach something to a student, you understand it more deeply in the process of explaining it than you did before you began. It is called Feynman's method. When you teach something to a student, you understand it more deeply in the process of explaining it than you did before you began. Okay, very good. Now, third thing, when you argue constructively with someone extempore on a subject you care about, you reach a state of attention and energy that no book, no lecture, no silent reflection can ever produce. You are in that moment at the absolute zenith of your cognitive capacity. Yes or no? If you have experienced even one of these, you have already encountered the principle. This is what the secret of ancient Indian educational system. 1 point. What is happening in those moments? The two capacities that define human beings are meeting in the same instant. Means two capacities that define human beings are meeting in the same instant. And ancient India built an entire education system around producing that meeting. reliably across generations. And ancient India built an entire educational system. This is what exactly. It is not Hindu education system. It is not Buddhist education system alone. It is not Jain educational system alone. It is not Islamic education system. It is actually the complete Indian educational system. It is followed by everyone. It was followed by everyone. The ancient India built an entire education system around producing that meeting these two reliably across generations. Now let us see, it is going to be more interesting. I am going to take you to a very, very important thing. This one, you see that this is called arcuate fasciculus. Arcuate fasciculus. You know what is arcuate fasciculus? There is very magical thing. Magical thing. You take a brain scan. There is a white color highway from our mouth to front cortex. It's a white color highway. That is the only thing available on in our brain. God made a highway between our mouth and our cortex. It is in the brain. I will show you the video of that here. Please see the video.
This is the left cerebral hemisphere, showing the cortical surface with its gyri and sulci. Zooming to the parasylvian region, we see Broca's area anteriorly and Wernicke's area posteriorly.
This is what the white highway. This is what actually, see, you have to understand. There are 4 ways of communicating. That is, we can listen, we can read, we can speak, we can write. What are the things God built into our body? What are the things we can build? It is actually speaking and eyes. It is part of thinking. These are the only thing God gave to us. Rest of the things were man-made. So here, this is what the important thing. Arcuate fasciculus, a white matter highway connecting three cortical regions. Wernicke's area, posterior temporal lobe. Comprehension, meaning retrieval, semantic processing. Broca's area, inferior frontal lobe. Language production, syntax assembly, grammatical encoding. Motor cortex, tongue, lips, vocal apparatus, the physical execution of speech. What is the critical discovery? Let us see what is a critical discovery. Yes, educational system forgetting this is actually committing suicide by taking cyanide. That is what actually happening here. My grandfather used to say, you know, when these Britishers came here, they recruited so many Indians as soldiers. At that time, they were called Sipahis. They used to walk left, right, left, right, left, right. And the entire education system, they changed to read, right, read, right, read, right. Left, right, left, right, left, right for the soldiers, because they are supposed to use only their body. And here, education system changed to read, right, read, right, read, right. Speaking has gone, thinking has gone. With the speaking, thinking has gone. Now see here, when humans speak spontaneously, the arcuate fasciculus does not merely retain thoughts that already exist. It synthesizes and generates new thought in the act of speaking. It synthesizes and generates new thoughts in the act of speaking. Thinking and speaking are not two sequential events. In spontaneous speech, they are one process running simultaneously on the same neural highway. And what are all these supporting pathway? It is frontal osseous tract. It is called FAT, speech initiation and fluency under cognitive load. Superior longitudinal fasciculus connects language network to premotor planning regions. This is what actually I am coming to the key point here. Why this oral tradition? Why Why our ancestors stuck to oral tradition? Many people say like that, writing tradition, oral tradition, skill tradition. Many IKS trainers, they say like that, written, writing tradition, oral tradition, tradition, skill tradition. It is not like that. Oral tradition was the spine. It was the life of our entire education system. And this can be built. Every teacher can build that. Now, let us come to this. Actually, there are so much research into this, but any time, let us have more time, then we will speak about those things. Now, let me tell you one very interesting quote. You see a gentleman here on the right-hand side. He is one of my favorite poet. He is Octavio Paz. Octavio Paz got a Nobel Prize for Literature, I think in 1971. 1990. And he has written that we do not speak because we think because we speak. Please go to internet. You can see many good writing of his. He says, we do not speak because we think because we speak. Now, most important discovery about human speech, the assumption everyone holds. First you think, then you speak. No. Speaking is the output, thinking is the input. No. The mind produces the idea, the mouth merely delivers it. No. What neuroscience actually shows, in spontaneous extempore speech, the above is wrong. Thinking and speaking are the same process. New ideas emerge in the act of articulation. Ideas that would not have emerged had the person remained silent and thought instead. The cognitive skill. What is the cognitive skill in that? We are speaking entire thing. In this entire program, we are speaking about, yesterday we have seen that 12 war gallery things. We did the post-mortem. What made them? What was the capability? We had the total list of capabilities. What made them to do that? And today we are actually seeing how we made those supermen and superwomen and what we can learn from that and how we can implement it. Today we are in that process. So we are in the first thing. There are 4 steps, and the first one is to make human human. We understood that human beings, two major or only two capabilities that is differentiating from rest of the species are, one is first is abstract reasoning, and second is articulated speaking. And we immediately saw that these are all the things coming to the oral tradition of our ancient Indian educational system. And here spontaneous in the cognitive skill named is spontaneous synthesis, the cognitive state in which abstract reasoning and articulated speaking converge into a gap, generating the new knowledge in real time. Please understand, new knowledge in real time. Someone was telling that new knowledge cannot be created. New knowledges are always created. For the modern parallel, no animal can debate philosophy because the AF-driven spontaneous synthesis loop is absent. God has given arcuatus fasciculus only for us. Only for us. And we are not making use of it. God-given thing, we are not making use of it. A written essay is never as live as a spoken argument. Writing permits revision. Speech does not. I cannot use control X or control V, control C here. Once I spoke, it is me. Means you see that it is his character. Socrates wrote nothing. The Buddha wrote nothing. Adi Shankaracharya's decisive power was in the spoken disputation. Every great teacher in history was an oral teacher first. We forget that. In how many teacher recruitment here, we are testing a person's ability. Teaching is speaking. Teaching is speaking. We can convince our students. We can influence our students. We can engage our students only through our speaking. Then the speaking is tested or not? No. Speaking abilities are not tested. So, this is what every great teacher in history was an oral teacher first and a writer second, if at all. If at all. Now, let us go to the next stage. What this means for ancient Indian education. What this means for ancient Indian education. Ancient India did not use oral tradition because writing was unavailable. The Brahmi script existed by at least 300 BCE, used for the Ashokan inscriptions. Writing was known. They chose sustained orality for education anyway, because they understood a person who can speak a truth under pressure without script, with clarity and conviction, has not merely learned it, they have become it. I request you, you forget my face, but please don't forget this line. A person who can speak a truth under pressure, without script, with clarity and conviction, has not merely learned it, they have become it. The word and the speaker are one. The written text preserves information. The spoken examination proves transformation. The written text preserves information. The spoken examination proves transformation. Now we are coming to the third one, that is a part 2 of pillar 1, that is make a human human. Now let us see what are the things we have seen. We have identified our first thing about about our tapas, our building the real Indian intellectual is, first was to make human human. In that we have discussed the philosophical foundation and we have discussed the neuroscience behind it. Now we are going to speak about one very, very important part. That one I am not going to go into detail because it will take time, but you need to understand that. See, I am not speaking religion here, but I am speaking about some religious people, what they speak. They go to temple and they listen to the Vedic chanting. They go to temple and they listen to Vedic chanting. And they say that it is so nice to listen. There is a rhythm in that. That rhythm is giving so much of vibration, and that vibration is purifying everything. That is not the truth. That is not the truth. I am going to tell you something. It is very, very surprising to you. It might be surprising. I cannot guarantee that. It might be surprising to you. It is the PATA system as a progressive neural training protocol. PATA system, that is a progressive neural training protocol. All this we are speaking with the fundamental thing. See, please understand. I go to universities. I see like this incubation center, startup center, that center, excellence center, this center, this center. But any of these things are happening? No. Now central government is giving 1.3 lakh crore rupees to for improving research and development in India. Whether it is going to change anything? No. Why? Because it is not going to change material of every person. Unless we really change the material of the person, we are not going to invent anything. In 1965, IIT Kanpur had world's best IBM supercomputers. What they did with that? From 1978, from 1972, you take each and every IIT here. They all had the best computer and computer labs. What they did with that? Nothing. So then what is that? Because this type of a material change was not happening there. Everything is happening superficial. It is only waves happening. Below the sea, there is nothing happening. It is the same thing. So this is what this relevance of Indian knowledge system. Unless we put such a thing into this, everything is at just pouring more water in the drain. That's all. What we require here is a genuine change, genuine materialistic change. This material, I am speaking from that point of view, to change the material of each one of us, and it can be done. It is not going to take much time. It is not going to take much money. It is not going to take much money. I will tell you one very simple example. I will tell you one very simple example. I was staying in Japan for 2 years. Once I had a throat infection. So my close friend Yokoyama-san, he told me that you go to the Yamada-san's clinic. I went to Yamada-san's clinic. He checked and he didn't give any medicine. He gave me one bottle of blue liquid. He told that, Suresh-san, you take it and you do gargle. Because he looked at a dictionary, he found the word gargle. He told that you give gargle. Then what did he say? Pour the liquid and tell gara, gara, gara. Gara. I was thinking that what is this gara? We normally gargle by putting this guru guru guru. He told gara, gara. I came to the room. I put it. When I used gara, I realized that when I speak ga and ra, this blue liquid is going to certain places. My normal gargling never goes. Did I spend any money additional for this? Nothing. Did I purchase any medicine separately for this? Nothing. It is only a difference in approach. It is only a difference in approach. I am speaking about this Indian knowledge system things. It is only a difference in approach. So let us go and see that one. What is that? Now, this is a Pada system. In this Pada system, let me see that one. There are six modes of recitation. A progressive neutral curriculum. See, when they chant, I am not a Vedic, I am not speaking anything about that, because what is the examples I have, I am collecting and putting. I am not vouching anything. I am not vouching any religion. I am a firm I am a firm believer of various gods. So I am not sticking to any religion here. This I am speaking about this because of the pedagogical, because of the epistemological value. So there are 6 different modes they used to chant Vedas. The Vedic Patha recitation system is not 6 ways of saying the same thing. They were not reciting the same thing 6 ways. It was different. It is a graded cognitive load. Graded cognitive load progression. I will show you 6 modes. First, there are 6 you can see here. First is Samhita, continuous recitation with the Sandhi. 2, Pada, each word separated. Sandhi is not there, dissolved. 3, Krama, overlapping pairs. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. 4th, Jata, forward, backward, forward, interlocking chains. 5th is Mala, garland pattern of chanting, multiple overlapping sequence. 6th is Khana, apex, that is the topmost, simultaneous forward, backward, and interwoven chanting. This is what actually 6 modes of recitation system. What was the reason for this? It is not for making the God happy. It is actually that was part of our epistemology. It is a graded cognitive load progression from 1 to 6. Each mode activating the acute facilis at increasing intensity in preparation for the ultimate act, spontaneous, high-stakes oral performance. See this, how much value our ancestors given to the oral tradition. It is not something written tradition, oral tradition, skill tradition, throw it. It is not. That is our spine. That was the atma of our educational system. I am going to speak the rest of the thing with the equal intensity, equal rigor. You are going to get many new information today. Each mode is a different cognitive operation. Each mode means we are seeing 6. Each mode is a different cognitive operation. The system as a whole is the most sophisticated language brain training protocol ever designed in the world. Ever designed in the world. And we put it into read, write, examination. Go and write examination. There is no speaking, no thinking. Now, I am going to show you something very important here. That is, each mode is a different cognitive operation. Each maps to a specific level of Bloom's psychomotor taxonomy. This is only for academic interest, but you please see this. Samhita Pada, where it is standing on psychomotor taxonomy, Bloom's Dave 1970. It is Pada Pata, Krama Pata, Yada Pata, Mala Pada, everything. And when it is coming to 6, Kana Pada, it is going to the topmost level of psychomotor on Bloom's Dave's psychomotor, that is naturalization. Naturalization. And do you know why they made it like this? There is a concept called cognitive load. Means like a computer has got a RAM. Each one of us, our brain has got a RAM. If our RAM is involved in the just purely mechanical, purely technical related thing, we are engaged. We have very less space is left for creativity or no place left for creativity. Therefore, the brilliant way of education is whatever we are supposed to do, make it naturalized. So it is becoming automatic. It is on autopilot. We are not spending any RAM for that. Our entire RAM is for creativity. Our entire RAM is doing something new. Now, let us go ahead from here. Now, this is what I am not going to each and every of this chanting because it is going to take time. It will take Samhita Pada. It is Bloom's Dave level L1. Pada Pada. Here, what we need to understand is only this much, that this was a very systematic oral cognitive training. Samhita to Krama here, Jata Pada here. This is Khana Pada. That is a complex interlocking pattern requiring simultaneously. See this one. This is the apex. I will spend a little time here. Khana Pada. Bloom's Dave L5 naturalization, the apex top level. A complex interlocking pattern requiring simultaneously forward sequential tracking across multiple overlapping chains, backward retrieval to previous nodes while tracking forward, error detection and self-correction in real time under full prosodic load, multiple simultaneous representation forms of the same content. What the Kanapadi has achieved. Now see, with that, what he or she has achieved. High density bilaterally developed arcuate fasciculus. That is what the maximum achievement a person can get. High density, it is dense, bilaterally developed arcuate fasciculus. Strong frontal ascendant tract, complex verbal initiation under cognitive load, extreme phonological working memory, capacity and fidelity. Deep structural language understanding, automatic, not effortful. This is what I was telling. When it is in autopilot, our complete RAM can be used for creativity. Multi-representational simultaneous processing. The same content held forward, backward, and woven. Now, what is that cognitive skill name? Naturalized multi-representational processing. The apex of Bloom's Dave taxonomy, not performing a complex skill, being it, the distinction between the practitioner and the practice has dissolved. Now, what is that wow moment? What is that wow moment? The Rigveda has been transmitted for 3,500 years with less than 0.01% variation. without a written copy for most of that period. This is not memory. This is the fully trained cognitive architecture reproducing itself. It is reproducing. That is our capability. This was the capability we had. Now, what are all this Kanapadi's achievement? Now, let us go next. The material transformation, this is what tapas actually means. The central claim of pillar 1, that is to make human human. When we say that the Pata system trained the mind, we do not mean it changed thinking habits or learning strategies. We mean the brain became a different physical object. You know that the important thing about learning is it is exactly like Microsoft operating system. You know, Bill Gates put a Microsoft operating system exactly like our brain. Can you save a file without attaching to a folder? Yes or no? Can you save a file without attaching to a folder? Please tell yes or no. No is the answer. We cannot save a file without attaching it to a folder. It has to get attached. That is what exactly our brain working. Why? Because if there is a file which is not saved and you are closing the computer, it gets deleted. Because it has to be associated with some already established folder. Similarly, when it is coming to our brain, if we learn by heart, if it is rote learning, it is not associated with any of the earlier learning. We learn only if the new information can be associated with an existing knowledge. I repeat, we learn only if the new knowledge can be associated with some existing knowledge. This is what exactly like Microsoft operating system. So if we do mugging up something, our brain reject it. This is what same thing happening here. When we are associating something, the neurons getting built, neurons getting developed, it is getting strengthened. And it is exactly like our gym, like our muscle. When we learn something well, those neural paths will get strengthened. And like our building muscle, the neurons can be built. It is a muscle. It's a muscle. So when we say that Pata system trained the mind, we do not mean it changed thinking habits or learning strategies. We mean the brain become a different physical object. So when we learn something new, before we learn something new, the brain is not same. Brain has become different. So the neuroplasticity evidence is like this. White matter physically thickens. That is fractional anisotropy, that is FA, increases in trained practitioners. Myelination increases. Signal transmission becomes permanently faster and more precise. Gray matter volume measurably increases in bilateral hippocampus and right temporal cortex. See, this is actually we did lot of research. This is a Krishnamurthy et al. That is 2016. They are from Nimans, Bangalore, but there are certain disputes about that academic research paper. That's the reason I have written here more research is needed. Only that particular thing. Frontal ascendant tract develops. Verbal initiation under pressure becomes effortless. This is tapas in its most literal sense. I repeat, this is tapas in its most literal sense. A sword is forged by fire. The fire does not teach the iron new information. The fire changes the material structure of the iron. The sword that emerges is physically different from the metal that entered the forge. The Pata trained mind is not the same physical organ as the untrained mind. The Pata system is not curriculum, it is a forge. It's a forge. That's the reason this is Tapas. We have written forge. The Pata system is not a curriculum. It's a forge. If you have seen the English translation of this session, it is Tapas. We have written forge. Because what is happening is the formation. The person who emerges from this forge is now ready for the Shastrartha, the scholarly debate. The training was preparation for the ultimate act, spontaneous high-stakes oral performance in which the forge-built architecture runs at full capacity. Please understand this. This was the preparation our education system did. This was the type of the formation they did in the brain before entering into this, entering into anything else. So now we understood that. Now we are entering to the next stage, that is, it is Shastrartha, the scholarly debate. Now let us see. It's a very interesting thing. Pillar 1, make human human. It is the last thing, convergence, that is Shastrartha. Debate as cognitive zenith. Cognitive zenith. Now see this, Shastrartha, the Olympics of learning. Olympics of learning means they say Shastrartha is the Olympics of learning. That is the maximum. Now you see this, you know this. The debate between Adi Shankaracharya, who is a relative of mine, and Mandana Mishra, and his wife Upaya Bharati. She was the judge, or she was the moderator. So Adi Shankaracharya versus Mandana Mishra, it is a well-known debate. Now what was the stake? It is not grade, it is not money, it is a life path. The loser becomes the winner's disciple. That was the thing at stake. And then let us see what is Shastrartha. It is a very, very different thing. This is a zenith. This is a no script, no preparation for this argument. Creation and delivery are simultaneous. The AF highway, that is Arcuitus Fasciculus highway, at full operational capacity. Every hesitation, clarity, confusion, conviction surfaces instantly and irreversibly. Body, voice, and face betray what the tongue tries to conceal. The taxonomy of debate. Ancient India classified cognitive intent, vada, honest inquiry, both parties committed to finding truth. Jalpa, competitive debate, winning matters more than truth. Vidanda, destructive counter-argument, no position held, opponent destroyed. The Shastrartha is not a test. It is the cognitive state itself made public. I told you earlier that when I am doing spontaneous talking, my mind is naked. I cannot hide anything. That is what taken as a learning process, epistemological tool. Now, what the ancient system was actually building. With this, we will be coming to the end of this particular session. We will go to the next more interesting session. Now. Now let us see. In this first pillar number 1, what was the cognitive architecture of the fully trained scholar? Please understand, as I was telling you the story of my experience with the spanner. If your material is wrong, if it was with that type of a spanner, whatever you do, you page full advertisement, you tell social media, you bring Shah Rukh Khan to put it as a brand ambassador of that spanner. Ultimately, the spanner is not going to work. That is why we have got building. I have visited almost 300 institutions of higher education in India. We have got buildings better than most of the foreign universities. You go to Germany, go to Europe. Many of our universities, those universities are very small in size. They don't have any of the big infrastructure. But they say that in that building, 3 Nobel laureates are working. They got Nobel Prize there and they are working there. It is because of thinking. Here, we are building the building first. I think there is a company itself to build all those big palaces for IITs, NITs, and all IISc, ISER, etc., etc. But what is coming out from there? Coming out from there, I was speaking to somebody in 1978-72, IITs have computer science information technology department, and now we were in the topmost, means we were giving priority for IT for the last 45 years. Central government was giving. Even then, under their nose, more than 2,500 or 3,000 breakthrough inventions happened in information technology and computer science, and none of them are from here. None of them are from here. Maybe some one or two. Why such a thing happening? What is such a crime we did? We have to tell apology to Bharat Mata, because this is our motherland and this is the way we have to use our money. This is the way. This is what we actually require is a materialistic change. We are speaking about that. Unless anything else is a compliance, you go to your college, 90% of the thing what you are doing is compliance. With the compliance, nothing is going to happen. With the compliance, nothing is going to happen. What we require is innovation. What we require is real learning. This learning can happen only transformation. Means you please go and search on internet. There is William Perry's. There is William Perry's scheme. William Perry was the director of Harvard University for more than 30 years. There is a study by him. He studied how students enter, how students leave, how their brain and mentality change. It's a very interesting thing. And there you will understand that what is the type of the transformation we need to give. Unless we give such a transformation, a student who is undergoing 4-year degree, let there be internship, let there be compulsory research, let there be paper publication. Nothing is going to happen unless there is a true, genuine transformation happening in their brain. So this is what. Let us see what is the cognitive architecture of the fully trained scholar. IQAC facilities high density, bilaterally developed, spontaneous synthesis available without effort. Frontal ascendant tract, strong initiation under cognitive pressure and adversarial condition. Phonological loop, extreme working memory capacity, long inferential chains held simultaneously, structural language understanding, and deep and automatic grammar as intuition, not calculation. Abstract reasoning, that is naturalized reasoning, operating from depth, not from effort. Articulated speaking, creation and delivery unified. Shrathartha as the natural conversation. What this person could then do. Please understand this. Such a person will go and do mathematics, recursive structural thinking, freed from procedural effort. He will start asking why. He will start thinking new things. Astronomy, multi-generational pattern recognition across a vast time span. He is not going to sit in the corner and say that I don't have telescope, I don't have paper. He is going to find solution for that. Surgery, procedural precision and decisiveness, fairness under pressure. Philosophy, rigorous inference sustained under adversarial intellectual condition. Governance, real-time synthesis of complex competing claims under pressure. The cognitive infrastructure was built first. The disciplines were the application. Cognitive infrastructure was built first. The disciplines were the application. Here, cement and brick and steel infrastructure is built first. All those things which is purchased first. Then think about where is the cognitive, why we are not getting innovation. Now, let us go next. So with this, we are going to stop the first section. That is what the three phenomena you identified share now. Share ideas arriving in the act of speaking, understanding deepening in the act of teaching, attention reaching its zenith in the act of extempore debate. These are not random experiences. They are the same neurological event 3 times over. Now, what ancient India did, they observed this across centuries of teaching, across generations of students, and built a system to produce it reliably. The system worked not because of the information was memorized, because the architecture was built. Now we are coming to the next one. First we did how to make human human. So that was our first. Second thing is Ashtanga Yoga. Please do not have any prejudice about yoga. I am going to speak something very different. Do you know that yoga is the world's best example of culmination of all three domains of Bloom's taxonomy? Ashtanga Yoga is the culmination of all three domains of Bloom's taxonomy. And every researcher in 2026 says that only way to survive in generative AI era is the combination of all three domains of Bloom's taxonomy. Means we have to work with our head, heart, and hand. We have to work with our brain, our emotions, and our physical abilities. In Bloom's taxonomies, we have to work with cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. So this is what the importance of Ashtanga Yoga. You please now let me tell you some very important secrets about this. The pillar 2, Ashtanga Yoga, it is called Purna Vikasa. What is Purna Vikasa? You are developing you are a whole development, holistic development. So the world's only tri-domain formation system, Bloom's cognitive, Krothwald affective, and Dave psychomotor simultaneously. Purna Vikasa, complete integrated human development across all three domains of excellence. Modern educational targets one domain at a time. One domain at a time. In our India, I will say half domain. Because most of the universities and institutions what I have visited, they are only using the first 3 levels of that too, I will say 2.5. First 3 levels of Bloom's taxonomy, and for OBE requirement, fabricate the situation in such a way that many of the questions are in creative level of Bloom's taxonomy. That is not for the interest of any one of us. Teachers, students, institution, society, country, or mankind. So, here, Purna Vikasa, complete integrated human development across all three domains of excellence. Modern educational targets one domain at a time. Schools, cognitive. Therapy, affective. Sports science, psychomotor. And even, you know what? Many people, they don't even use the word psychomotor. They only say motor skill. They degrade humans. We cannot act unless it has got a thinking from here. So it is not motor skill, it is actually psychomotor. According to our Indian concept, when we are seeing that, being that Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is not motor, not even psychomotor, it is affective psychomotor. Because in Indian system, in this holistic development, we say that no action, emotionless, no action without thinking. This is what our culture. We are not like Westerners. They can just go and hit. Like our Donald Trump 2 days ago, what did he say? If that is not enough, we will strike a few more for fun. This is what exactly. Go and search on internet. We will strike Iran for fun. He is not at all thinking, because that is what actually motor skill. In motor skill, there is no emotion. There is no cognitive thing in that. So therefore, no system in recorded educational history was designed to develop all three simultaneously and integrate them into a single unified state of being, excepting one. That is what our Ashtanga Yoga. Yoga Sutra 1.2, the technical specification. Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the stilling of the modifications of the mind field. So before we describe what yoga is, let us read what Patanjali actually says. And let us see why this matters today. No, it is not a spiritual aspiration, a technical specification of a target cognitive state. The question we must answer, what does it take to build a mind capable of this stilling? And why would you want it? So this is what, let us go ahead from here. I will show you something very, very interesting, very, very interesting. And please look at the table here. Ashtanga Yoga. Ashta Anga. Ashta means 8, Anga means limb. It has got 8 limb yoga. And many people think that, should I go for yoga or gym? Yoga or gym? That is the stupidest question. Because yoga, people think only asana. Asana is only one portion of this 8. Only one portion of this 8. The rest of the things are very, very scientific. That is what Ashtanga Yoga. So I have made this table. You see this on the left, I have written Anga, limb, Ashtanga, 8 limbs you will see here. 1, Yama. Second, Niyama. I am going to tell this individually. Third, Asana. 4, Pranayama. 5th, Pratyahara. 6, Dharana. 7, Dhyana. 8, Samadhi. Please don't think that Samadhi means you are going to die. That is not the thing. Samadhi is a special state of mind. So if you want that, if you want a dead body's mind, you can always go for that. But Samadhi doesn't mean that it is the end of life. So here, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Now, we are all educators. For a fundamental sake, I made the three Bloom's taxonomy level of each one of this. Means where we stand. Starting with the Yama. Please understand why Yama. It is cognitive apply, affective characterizing. It is not in psychomotor. Characterizing is the apex of affective domain of Bloom's taxonomy. That means, and Niyama, apply a level 3, organizing and characterizing of affective domain. You know, affective domain is about value system and emotion. So here the main thing is that in Indian educational system, we start with the value system. We are not starting with the Bloom's cognitive remembering understanding. No, we are starting with the value system. Means we make our brain fertile. We condition. We are going to come to that one in the next one. But let me tell you introduction. Third one is asana. That is what we call as yoga here. That is the reason only in India yoga is actually not popular. People laugh at yoga by thinking that I don't like yoga. That person doesn't know what is yoga, and he is using that word. He is actually misrepresenting that word, because instead of asana, he is telling yoga. So it is starting with the affective of Bloom's taxonomy. Then there's a pranayama. That is also the this asana and pranayama. These two are the apex of psychomotor domain. That is naturalization, articulation, naturalization. Then pratyahara. That is apply on cognitive, affective, valuing, psychomotor manipulation. Dharana, cognitive analysis, affective responding, psychomotor precision. Dhyana, cognitive evaluate, affective organizing, psychomotor articulation. Samadhi, apex of all three, that is cognitive creation, affective characterization, psychomotor naturalization. This is what actually Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga means a person who is entering to it, they are going to become the zenith in the apex of all three domains of Bloom's taxonomy. This is what actually the skill type of the thing for a holistic personality, holistic skill development, what is required in an generative AI era to find employment or to become useful in this particular season. Now I am going to tell you one by one, what exactly is this yama and niyama. These are the 1 and 2. Affective domain as cognitive foundation. Bloom's domain, primarily affective, that is targeting L5. What is yama? Yama means ethical restraint. Please understand our education system starting with the ethical restraint. Ahimsa, no harm, comprehensive non-disruption of all living system. Satya, truth, accuracy of perfection and speech without distortion. Truth, accuracy of perception. Please understand the wording. Each one we will see that what we normally think and the depth of these words are very different. Very different, because I am going to speak to you today. It is the D2. I am going to tell you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. I am going to tell you the application, how ancient Indian system, they really made use of this one in across system. I am going to tell you how this can be applied for your publication. I am going to show you how this can be used for your academic publication. I am going to show you how this is used for design thinking. I am going to show you how this is going to be useful for startup. Because these are all the application once it is applied. Indian knowledge system is not something to be laughed at. Indian knowledge system is so important. It is to be taken very seriously, including institutions, including UGC, including ACT, including everyone. So here the asteya, non-covetous, freedom from acquisitive desire as cognitive distractor. Brahmacharya means moderation, regulation of the energy available to the mind. Brahmacharya doesn't mean you don't get married. Brahmacharya is moderation, regulation of the energy available to the mind. Aparigraha is non-accumulation, freedom from accumulation anxiety. You know this. I used to read Panchatantra story, then Chandamama. There we used to see images where we can see lion is sitting there, jackal is sitting here, parrot is sitting here. They are all sitting together. We will think that if a jackal or dog or a deer sitting near to a lion, immediately it may jump and kill. No. Why? Because in forest, lion doesn't have a fridge. Lion doesn't have a fridge. it would kill another animal only when it is hungry. So this animal knows it has got the wisdom not to go in front of the lion when it is hungry. That is what here aparigraha, that is non-accumulation, because lion is not going to kill and keep the meat in the fridge. Now what we spoke now was yama, that is ethical restraint. Now we are going to speak about niyama, that is personal disciplines. It is shaucha, purity, internal and external clarity as cognitive baseline. Santosha, contentment, affective stability that prevents emotional hijacking of attention. Tapas, disciplined effort. We have given that name here. You understood that how we gave the name Forge and Tapas for this particular session. It is because of this. Disciplined effort, voluntary acceptance of transformative difficulty. Swadhyaya, self-study, metacognitive self-monitoring as a daily practice. Ishwara pranithana, surrender of outcomes, release of ego investment in result. Now let us see why affective domain first. Unresolved ethical conflict is a background process consuming cognitive bandwidth. We know that if we have got to fight, if we have got a mental tension, our ability to read, our ability to communicate, our ability to perform a creative work will decline. That is what in Ashtanga Yoga, they are starting with affective yama and niyama, because unresolved ethical conflict is a background process consuming cognitive bandwidth. Bandwidth, you know, a mind at war with itself, managing deceptions, suppressing resentments, anxious about accumulation, cannot sustain the quality of attention required for dharana or dhyana. These eight steps, even though it is written limbs, it is written ashtanga, it is actually hierarchical, it is a sequential. Unless you come from yama and niyama, coming to asana and pranayama, then you come to pratyahara, you cannot come to dharana, then you cannot come to a situation for dhyana. So yama and niyama are not moral decoration, they are cognitive prerequisite engineering through the affective domain. So asana and pranayama. So let us see this. The body trained to stop generating noise to become background, not foreground of awareness. Next is pratyahara. Next is pratyahara. That is when a sense withdraw from their objects and mirror the mind its own. That is pratyahara. Pratyahara. This is a very important cognitive and affective in partnership. Now dhyana and samadhi. Now we are coming to this, the claim no other educational system can make. I repeat, this is a claim no other education system can make. The question in the entire history of education design, from Plato's Academy to Nalanda to Oxford to Harvard, which system was designed with all three of Bloom's domains as simultaneous targets with a single specified terminal state at which all three reach their apex together? The reveal, modern schools cognitive. So this is what our strength, the application, this is what our strength, and we ignore our strength. Instead of strengthening our strength, we ignore our strength. So now this is what we are coming to the conclusion of our third or the second section, that is world's first graduation address. Taittiriya Upanishad has got a world's first graduation convocation address. That is Sattvam Vada, Dharmam Chara, and Swatyamanya Pradama. That is, speak truth, practice dharma, never neglect self-study. That is lifelong learning. That is what it means for the tri-domain framework. Satyam Vada, cognitive discipline, the commitment to accurate perception prevents a drift to viparyaya, that is error. Dharmam Chara, affective discipline, consistent ethical action across context in Krothwal L5 characterization, Bloom's taxonomy. Next, it is Swatyamamna Pramaha, psychomotor. That is the habit of self-study daily without a lapse is naturalization of metacognition. This is what the thing we inherited. Now let me go to the next one. It is adhikara. What is adhikara? It is going to be really shocking. The readiness principle. Why preparation must precede transition. The soil must be prepared before that. Let me tell you one thing. Adhikara. Adhikara is not certificate. Adhikara is not power. Let me tell you this. Take NATA examination. That is an all India examination selecting architects. Now go and see how many of those who are really selected are really suitable for architecture, because that is not tested. Now India has got JEE examination. That is for IIT entrance examination. And it is people study science, people study physics, chemistry, mathematics. They write JEE examination. They are coming to computer science, civil engineering, electronics and telecommunication, that thing, this thing, mining engineering, metallurgical engineering, various things. Do you know one thing? The mind required for software is not the mind required for mechanical engineering. The mind required for mechanical engineering is not the mind required for chemical engineering. The mind required for chemical engineering is not the mind required for electronics engineering. That means almost 95% of our students studying in our engineering colleges, they don't carry adhikara for that particular subject. Now, say one thing. Now, civil service examination. We have got IAS, we have got IPS, we have got IFS, we have got the Indian Postal Service. Tell me, now let me tell you, most of these people do not have the adhikara to become that particular position. It is because we do not have preparedness. Based on the chance, we are falling into certain buckets and we are filling and we are actually going ahead with that. That is what actually Indian knowledge system should stop. Indian knowledge should say, we have to implement adhikara. Now, let me go ahead from here. Shushruda's character curriculum. This is one very interesting thing to do. Actually, this particular thing I take one day. This I am completing within 2 hours. So sincere apologies to each one of you, because I am not able to tell many interesting things in this. At the same time, I have to tell certain things. So I am putting a mix here. Shushruda Samhita. In the Shushruda specifically says, what are all the adhikara for a person to become a surgeon? What are all the adhikara required to become a surgeon? Shushruta has written in 500 BC, and that can be linked to the Bloom's taxonomy. You can link that to Bloom's taxonomy and you see that how brilliant he defined. Now, whether our MBBS entrance examination, NEET examinations, anything, consider this type of a whatever Shushruta has written, without considering that what is the value people will give for Indian knowledge system, because we have to implement them. Now, this is what Shushruda's thing. Big list. This is not a skill checklist. It's a character curriculum. Adhikara is actually a character curriculum. It has to start early. Cognitive naming, prerequisite based competence design, the explicit construction of character, cognitive and psychomotor infrastructure before technical knowledge is transmitted. That is what Shushruta did. Now the world's first simulation-based surgical training. Now this Guru's assessment, long-term observational evaluation. Now you see here, Guru observes. Guru can understand who has got adhikara to do what. Who has got adhikara? That is the way these jobs were separated. That is the reason we could find very good people. Now, India's one of the main thing, capability issue, is only because of this. Because our recruitment, our examination, our selections, everything is based on some marks, some score, which has got no relation with what they are going to do in the end. What they are going to do in the end. So let us go ahead from here. What here? See, oh, here one very interesting thing I want to tell you. Very interesting. State quality depends on leader quality. Leader quality depends upon adhikara verification. Adhikara verification. That is what they said. So when adhikara is abandoned, what the classical tradition want means there was a clear warning. If adhikara is abandoned, if adhikara is abandoned, adhikara system is abandoned, what bad will happen? It is written in Indian knowledge system. And for your information, this is what exactly happening here. This is what exactly happening here. Because adhikara in Indian knowledge system is abandoned. IQAC principle stated precisely. Adhikara was not a philosophical preference. It was a load-bearing structural element of every classical Indian knowledge institution. Remove it, and the structure does not merely weaken. It produces the opposite of what it was designed to produce. It will produce opposite of what it is designed to produce. It is in Charaka Samhita it is written. In Bhagavad Gita it is written. In Ashtra Shastra it is written. In Adhikara violation it is written. Bhagavad Gita. The three pathologies everywhere. Anarha Pradishta, Vidya Prashta, Dharma Shaya. All these things are clearly written if Adhikara is not followed. Now Nalanda burns and knowledge sustained. It is because of the ability. It is because of the ability and the oral tradition. Now we are coming to pillar number 4. It is Samvedana. You know what is Samvedana? Samvedana is ability for creative noticing. You know what? Here you go for research scholars. They don't know what to research. They are looking for a subject for publication. And India is a country of 145 crore people. We are not able to find problem in our system. We are living in the middle of all problems, but we cannot define one problem. That is the reason we cannot find a solution. That is the reason we cannot develop products for us. Chinese should do. It started long time back. Indian National Congress is founded by A.O. Hume. A Britisher had to come and say that you can get independence if you make a political party. This is what exactly happening. India is the cancer capital. India is the diabetes capital. India is the BP capital. All these tablets, measuring instruments, all these things are coming from abroad. We cannot notice and we cannot find our own problem. That is the reason Samvedana of Indian knowledge system is very important. Samvedana is looking around and noticing problem and then finding solution. Unless we have got this, unless we have got Samvedana, there is no way we can use the rest of the thing. Let it be human. We have got Yama Niyama, we have got Adhikara. But unless we have got the ability to notice, ability to find a problem, and then ability to define that in such a way that we can actually get the solution for that. This is what Indian knowledge system says. This is not. So, point here is that Indian knowledge system is not about religion. It is not about Vedic structure. It is not about the Prime Minister saying something. It is actually about what we really own. It is really about what are the things we can do. And unless it is done in this way, it will only remain as a glorification. It will only glorification. We sit only with the contemplation. We don't understand. We don't read between the lines. We don't really get. Means we will not be able to abstract, get to the extract from this. We will not be able to put it in the curriculum. We have got a solution for all these things. Now we have got 2 more days. Now today, we have got 2 more days. We are going to speak about all these things. So now 3 pillars build the engine. This section, now we are coming to, this is the steering. That is, Samvedana is the steering. We have got a pillar 1, the oral tradition. We have got pillar 2, that is our yoga purna vikasa. Then our pillar 3, that is our adhikara, a 4-dimensional readiness. Now 3 pillars, a complete formation engine. Yet the Kerala mathematician with the Kanapata naturalization, what made him notice that the relationship between a circle and its diameter was worth pursuing to infinite precision? Just imagine this. A person sitting in Kerala in a village, what made him to think there is a relationship between a circle and its diameter? Very strange. That is what actually Nilakanta Somayaji did. And he found pi 3.14 dash 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 to certain decimals accuracy more than 300 years ago. 300 years ago, Europeans did that. What made? That is what Samvedana. The surgeon Shushruta, what made him notice that patient's fear and surgeon's steadiness were as clinically significant as the sharpness of the instrument? This is what Samvedana. Panini, what made him care about the suffering caused by grammatical corruption, the degradation of meaning that happens to language losses structure? This is what Samvedana, noticing. This is what India requires urgently. The power to notice, ability to notice. That is what the 4th section of here, Indian knowledge system capability building. That is Samvedana. In every case, before the cognitive engine engaged, something else happened first. A noticing, an attunement, a caring about a problem before the problem solving began. That is what this section we are going to speak about. Just a few slides because it is nearing 9. I know that Saturday evenings are not for this. I am very sure that Saturday evening is not for this. So, Samvedana, it is some means complete. It is not SUM, SAM also. Some means complete together with. Vedana means feeling, sensing, knowing. Samvedana, it is complete knowing with the capacity to feel the full reality of what another person, system, or situation is actually experiencing accurately, not projectively. Functional definition for this program: the formed capacity to notice. The formed capacity to notice what is actually present in a patient, in a student, a natural system, a problem, without the distortion of assumption. Understand the meaning. Without the distortion without the distortions of assumption. Assumption can distort. You would have seen that yesterday we have got a pramana. Pramana means it is actually saying how to think. That is also integrated to this because it was explained yesterday. Assumption, status, anxiety, habit, or borrowed framework. This is not emotional sensitivity. Emotional sensitivity is what you were born with. It varies by temperament. It can be overwhelmed by pressure. Samvedana is a formation outcome. Samvedana is developed in our system. In our Indian knowledge system, Samvedana is developed. When you become human, when you learn Ashtanga yoga, when you get adhikara, The samvedana is getting developed from that. So this is what the distinction matters. This is what. Let us go from here. How Samvedana was built. There are three formation mechanisms. That is, one, it is coming from our pratyaksha as a trained person, our ability to observe. There are many things. I told you that this is my 1 day's program. I cannot complete it in 2 hours. Then this is the one. Next is ahimsa. And the third thing is through rina, that is when we are taking care of our nature. Then rasa theory, the world's most complete empathy training system. You know, there is something called design thinking. People complete IQAC, design thinking, etc. They actually stick into the old design thinking, those 5 steps. But IQAC, through this, there is another step, because our approach is a very different thing. In Indian knowledge system, design thinking is not the same. It is different, because we are not just taking empathy as an interview. We take it in a holistic way. There is a very different thing in that. So now it is samvedana in action. What form we have got? What is samvedana in medicine? What is samvedana in agriculture? What is samvedana for governance? What is samvedana for astrology? These are all different what we have built. Now let us conclude, because there is only 5 minutes here. 5 minutes here, so that let us come to the last slides of this. Now I am coming to the conclusion of this particular session. The forge has spoken, Tapo Brahma. For this section, that is Tapas. We were telling about formation. Our mind, that is different. Let me this I will tell you that I worked with the engineers from almost 12 to 13 countries. When we sit with a Japanese engineer and work, you will immediately see a change in material. You sit with a German engineer and work, you see a different material. When you sit with an American engineer and work, you will see a different material. Actually, through Indian knowledge system, what we require here is a change in material. So all these things, I am sitting and speaking, all this session, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, everything it is with the objective of change of that material. Unless we change that material, or all lakhs crores of rupees which is put on building, buying computer, buying equipments, and spending everything is a line drawn on water. It is not going to give any result. Our rupee value is going to fall, because everything we import, and we only export a low skill thing, and always there is a trade imbalance. Now, last year itself, India and China, 100 billion is the trade deficit. It is coming from our incapability. And 145 crore people with incapability. For me, it's a shame on me. For me, it is actually, we are ditching our Bharat Mata. That is the reason I am sitting here in front of you. India did not produce great thinkers by birth. India did not produce great thinkers by luck. India did not produce great thinkers by resources. India produced great thinkers by design. The design had a name, that is Tapas. The technology, the oral tradition plus yoga, Purna Vikasa, Adhikara plus Samvedana. Please understand this one. Are we using any of this? Oral tradition, yoga, Purna Vikasa, Adhikara, Samvedana. We are not using any of this. The output, and we are using opposite of this. And the output, a human being in whom abstract reasoning and articulated speaking, cognitive excellence and affective depth, and psychomotor mastery had all converged, not as achievements to not as achievements to be performed, but as the natural expression of who they had become, and who could not encounter the world without noticing it, what it actually needed from them. Tapo Brahma. Disciplined effort is the ultimate reality. That is what the Tapo Brahma. Tapo Brahma means disciplined effort is the ultimate reality, nothing else. That is what the name is given for this session, Tapas. Why this matters to be? We opened day 2 with this verse, Tapo Brahma, as a claim. We close with it as a demonstrated truth. You have seen that step by step, how this Tapo Brahma, how this Tapas, various material change what is did. It is not a functional change. It is not a policy change. It is not a regulatory change. It is not a OBE change. It is not a NIRF change. It is not a NAC change. It's a material change. It's a material change. The sword that emerged as was capable of writing this Akshatrai, mapping the sky, healing the body, and exceeding every constraint the word placed on his path. That is what now we are going to see day 3. Now wait. On Monday, you are going to see another interesting thing. And that particular thing, Sthira Sukham Athyayanam. Now this is Tapas. That is day 2 complete. With this, day 2 complete. Now day 3 is Vikrama, the step that exceeds what circumstances permit. There was a constraint, there was a restriction. Our ancestors exceeded that. Vikrama, how they exceeded, that is what we are going to speak on Monday. So now from this session, if anyone has got any question, please let me know. I am stopping this.
Everyone, don't forget to fill the feedback form. Okay. If any of you have any questions, please put it in the chat.
Not finding any question.
Yeah, they're all thanking you for this. Please note, everybody, our next session is going to be on Monday, okay? And so we'll take, the topic is going to be on exceed, discipline, transcendence, originate, pratibha, that is original creative, illumination. I hope I got it right, sir?
Yes, that's right.
Exceed, vikrama, discipline, transcendence.
Vikrama and Pratibha. These are the two things we are going to speak, because 5 days thing we are going to make it into 4. So 2 sessions will be there on Monday.
Monday will be combined. Then you have one more session on Tuesday, which is regenerate. Sacred obligation. All right, so if there are no more questions, I think we can wind up for today.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Suresh.
Yeah, thank you, Sujan. Thank you.
Yeah, we will end the session for today. Please join on Monday. Tomorrow we don't have a session. Our next session is going to be on Monday. Okay, please join on time. The session timing will be same from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yeah. Thank you all. Have a pleasant evening. Have a pleasant weekend as well. Thank you.
Thank you.